Hey fishing fam, how you doing? Austin Simpson here with another edition of AS Fishing Life. Obviously I'm not out on a lake right now. It's 102 degrees and I went fishing yesterday and it's hot. It is really hot out there. So today I needed to fix a little problem with my boat. Okay, and it's something that I'm sure a lot of y'all with older boats like mine's a 94, you run into this problem because uh, they use a lot of plastic parts in the manufacturing of these boats, which there's a good side to that as well as a bad side. The good side is it's a lot cheaper, so you don't have to pay as much for the parts as you would if it was metal. Bad side is after a while that plastic starts to deteriorate and then you start breaking parts, things like that. And the problem that I've had recently is my hatch latches have been snapping off. It just, you go to pull on it and pow, it just snaps right off because it's plastic. And like I said, it's an older boat, so that stuff just happens. Another problem with that is, even though it's plastic and it may be cheaper than metal, it's still $25 a piece to replace them. So instead of going without latch handles for the next, however many days or weeks that it takes to get those latch handles in, I've come up with a little plan to use these in the meantime until I can get those parts in. So that way I don't have to worry about my boats not being secure or whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut to putting these together and show you what I've come up with. Alright, so this is the hatch latch that I was talking about. You can tell where the little piece broke off of there. That's a T-handle that you would use to pull that up, and it just snapped off of there. It's just plastic, so it happens. First thing you gotta do is disassemble everything. Take that apart, and then we're going to take off this little bottom plate and see what's underneath there so that we know what we're drilling into. You don't want to mess something up to the point that you can't use it anymore. So, this little piece, this little bottom plate, it just slides right off of that. It's got a little lip right there underneath the locking mechanism, and it just slides right out. So. And I'm going to go ahead and take the lock off of it just to get it out of the way, because I don't want to accidentally drill into it. Just make it a little easier to work with. And once you unscrew that with an Allen wrench, it just screws off the back. Okay, so that's off. And this is the key locking mechanism on it. We're getting new latches, so I'm not worried about messing up the locks on here anymore. This one's messed up anyway. You can tell it's the little plastic piece right there is snapped off. So it snapped off. It's no good anymore anyway. So I'm just going to take out this the springs and that little plastic piece and just get it out of the way. So whenever this goes in here, it should go through these holes right here. But as you can tell, this particular U-bolt is too wide, or it's too narrow, excuse me, to use the existing screw holes that are in this bottom plate. And that's all these screw holes are for. It just holds this bottom plate on. They don't go all the way through the top or anything. So, and they're really short screws. So that's their only purpose, is to hold on this plate. And it does have that little lip right there, so I think we can get away with not using that. One of the things that concerns me is these little ridges. I don't want the drill bit to go on this side of that ridge. I want it to go on this side of the ridge. So we're gonna commence to drilling. Well, let's mark it first. What I'm using here is it's a U-bolt. It's 1/4 inch, and it's a 1 3/8 inch by 3 5/16 inch. And a 1/4 inch, of course, that's the bolt size. So let's get these off. And you can pick these up at just about any hardware store. I got these at Ace Hardware. It was the closest one to me. But I'm sure, you know, any other hardware store, Lowe's, Home Depot, would have it. Alright, so now we got just the bolt. I'm just going to find a decent spot to hit on this. It doesn't have to be exact. That's the nice thing about a temporary fix, is it's temporary. So if you don't get it perfect, as long as it's functional, you're okay. And I'm not a big fan of you know, janky permanent fixes that don't last. So this is something that hopefully it'll last longer than I need, obviously. But I should be getting those new latches pretty soon, so I don't think it'll have to work a long time, just long enough for me to get the new latches in. So alright, we're gonna start drilling down. Alright, and you can see the drill bit went on the right side of that, but it got kind of bound up by the screw hole. That's right there. So that might be an issue down the road, so I'm going to try to drill that out. There we go. Alright, so I drilled most of that out. Make sure you keep your fingers and everything out of the way, because drill's pretty unforgiving. And then I'm just going to put that up there and make sure that my other hole is lined up. You want to use a bit that's a little bit bigger than your bolt, but not too much bigger, because you know one of the purposes of this is to keep the dust out. So you know, don't go crazy with the hole size. Just you know, make sure you get one that's a little bit bigger than your bolt. That way it'll slide up and down. And I'll show you what I mean by that here in a second. Okay, so we're going to drill the other side out. If you're having trouble keeping the drill steady whenever you drill down, you might start with a pilot hole. Use a really small bit and drill down through it first, and then that way whenever you use your bigger bit, it won't walk around on you. We're just that one pretty well wallered out too. Now one thing is, we're going to have to drill a hole through this base plate cover too. Let's see how this is working first. Okay. So it goes through our holes pretty good. It's a little bit tight. I might have to waller it out just a little bit, just to make it a little bit bigger. I don't want it binding up whenever I'm trying to access the D-ring, and you can tell it's still pretty tight. So I'm gonna drill this out just a little bit. Make sure you get your hands and your fingers out of the way. and now it slides in there fairly easy. I mean, that's about as good as you can hope for right there. And you can tell, or the reason I'm going with these U-bolts instead of just putting a bolt in it so you can use it to pull up, is I want something that's going to sit flush, because you know this is going on the deck of my boat, and I don't want something that's sticking up on the deck of my boat, because I'm going to kick it and hit it and step on it, and it's going to hurt, and I'm going to be not a happy camper whenever I'm out there fishing. So I got something that, you know, it fits inside this little ring, and when it pushes down, you can tell it's flush. I mean, yeah, I can step on that and I'm not gonna even know it's there. So that was the purpose of me getting these U-bolts. Alright, so we got that on there. That's good size for that. I'm gonna slip this little base plate back on there. Obviously the screws won't work anymore, but I'm gonna drill through for my bottom base plate holes. Ooh. Try not to tear up your workbench, which you can pretty much tell I'm good at tearing up my workbench. So that's why I've got a hog mat. Okay, drill the other side. And I'm just going to water that out a little bit. And it's pretty soft plastic, so you don't have to go crazy with it. It'll still work. Okay, now we'll stick the U-bolt through there, and it has this little plate right here, which that'll make a nice little washer to keep it from pulling the bolts and the nuts through the whole mechanism. And I'll put these little screws on there, and I'll try to line it up with the end of this bolt right here, just to give me a little guide. Straight, pretty flush, looks fairly even. Okay, last step, I've got locking nuts. It's got a little plastic piece inside here that whenever you screw it on, it locks down the nut. So as you know, with boats there's a lot of vibration, and these nuts would just fly right off because they're not even cinched down all the way. So that wouldn't be a good experience when you're out there and you pull up on it and your U-bolt just flies right out. Alright, so we're going to lock these down. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be functional. So there you go. We got those cinched down, so hopefully they won't fly off. So now, whenever I need to access my boat, the boat hatch, I can reach down and can grab this little ring, pull up on it, and there you go. You got something that you can use to open your hatch with ease. So I'm gonna finish all these up and put them on the boat, and we'll see how it looks. Okay, we got them put in. Everything looks alright. Looks like it's got a decent seal on it, and you can tell it sits flush. You can step on it, nothing, no problem. Kicking it, no problem. It sits down far enough into that recess that you don't have to worry about it. But if you need to access it, you just grab hold, pull up, and then it sits right back down. And it doesn't look perfect, but it's functional, it works, It's a lot easier than trying to pry the door open. And there you go. Alright, thank you for watching. Hope you liked this video. If you did, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. Make sure you turn on those notifications so that whenever we have another video out, you won't miss anything. So, it's Austin Simpson, AS Fishing Life. Thanks for watching. Bye.